Hello, everyone. I wanted to take a moment today to discuss something that I came across that I thought was kind of interesting, where there's a difference between disinfecting and sanitizing. And a lot of what's going on today is more entailed with disinfecting rather than sanitizing. But the two definitions or the two words have similarities yet are distinctly different than what they would typically be. So today I wanted to kind of go through and maybe get two levels deep on the topic where we basically talk about the difference between sanitization and disinfection, and also taking what you read at face value and digging maybe another layer deep on the onion and looking at a little bit of fact checking behind that. So without further ado, I'd like to kind of bring you across a story time when I was doing some research on some competitors or competition analysis, and came across a pretty popular competitor here. So we were looking at uh, another carpet cleaning company and kind of scrolling across. And a lot of these companies you start seeing are having messages about how they're combating coronavirus and COVID-19. And these are all noble things to put up on your website to kind of let people know that you're doing something, or at least you're acknowledging it, and I can appreciate that. That's important to at least put out a public announcement. So kudos to them for doing that. They got it right, at least by talking about the virus and what they're trying to do to solve it, and they're using the right products and everything like that. The only problem is they spent a lot of advertising budget on talking about sanitization, and they really should have been saying disinfection. And it's as simple as understanding the two differences between what each one of those mean. So I'll come back to this site here, but they're talking about how sanitizers function against enveloped viruses, et cetera, et cetera. And I was reading through this going, okay. Wait a minute, something doesn't sit right here. And what is it that I'm not sure of here? But you started talking about hospital-grade sanitizers are effective at eliminating 99% of bacteria. Well, that's where it kind of hit me. Wait a minute, this is not a bacteria, this is a virus. And we probably want to look into that. Now, this might have been something the legal team got involved in with this advertisement, where you can't really have a kill claim out there, and anybody that does is probably not being entirely truthful for you. But sanitizer might be just a legal term to use, and it's, in essence, not to say that you are killing a virus for that matter. But I definitely wanted to kind of clear the air about what is the difference between the two of them. So let's check it out from the authority itself as far as what the CDC says. And basically, they have a definition between cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing. So let's start. It's kind of out of order here, but I think sanitizing is more, well, cleaning is probably on the bottom level. I mean, anybody can clean. You can wipe something up. You can pull crumbs off of a tabletop. But sanitizing is probably the next level up, where you're looking at lowering the number of germs on a surface. I think that's the key there. The key word is lowers the number of germs on surfaces or objects to a safe level as judged by public health standards or requirements. So the next step beyond that is disinfecting or killing germs. So really the proper action for disinfection is cleaning a surface first and then you disinfect. That's the kill claim. Kills germs on surfaces or objects. So this is why I think maybe their legal team interjected and some of the terminology got mixed up. But they went a little bit more further egregious, as I'll show here later on in their website. So that's really the definition between sanitizing and disinfecting. Sanitizing, you're going to wipe something and you're going to lower the number of the germs, and sanitizers are basically, maybe something alcohol-based like your Purell, 70% alcohol-based, and that's going to do enough to disturb the fatty tissue around the virus and break it down so that it is no longer viable and transmittable. That lowers the germs. Obviously, disinfecting is going to be the atom bomb to these surfaces where the viruses might still exist on. So we covered the definition of what the CDC says. I actually really liked a lot with Clorox, which is a beloved home name brand that everybody kind of knows. It's recognized as a household name. I like what they put in here. One is about why a disinfection is important. And they say that you should disinfect, not sanitize, because disinfectants are the only products that are approved by the EPA to kill viruses on hard surfaces. Now we go back here to their website, and they're using our hospital-grade sanitizers have been approved by the EPA for use against the virus. What I do like about both websites is that they cite source, which is where you see these little the numbers above at the end of the sentence. Look, my intent here is not to slam the competition. It's more or less a learning opportunity for all of us to get out of this. It's enabled us to kind of peel the onion a little bit and look back at when you read something for face value and repost it on social media and precipitate that misinformation that goes around. It just becomes a virus in and of itself. And I'd like to disinfect that type of what leads to that misinformation that becomes massive across the board. So when you read something, take a look at where the source is, what the narrative is they have behind it, and what they're trying to do. And I can appreciate both sites, both Clorox and this site, as having some kind of a source to be cited. So again, don't read it for, don't take what you read for face value. So let's look at the citations they have here. That basically means there's something at the bottom of this site that's going to tell you a little bit more about what they're talking about. Mind you, this is all about sanitizers, 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 sanitizers. Boom, boom, and boom. And again, you know, talking about killing or eliminating, that's not what sanitization does. By our definition, sanitization lowers the number of germs. Disinfecting kills, not to drive that point into the ground. So let's take a look at the actual, you know, what they're talking about here. Sanitizers associated with EPA registration number, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. These are 3 different chemicals that they're using here. Now, many of you might not know this, but the EPA has what they call a List N, which is a list they made available basically for emergent viruses, telling you what chemicals are endorsed by them, that have gotten approval for them to combat different types of viruses out there, viri, if you will. List N, honestly, I don't know what the letter means, if it's, you know, an iteration or not, but it's kind of an interesting source to look up these numbers, because every product that you buy that has some type of disinfectant claim to it has to get an EPA registration here in the US. So these are the numbers that this company is using to claim against. And so you can actually look them up. The first 5 digits are really the most important. The other ones are kind of manufacturer based. I won't go into the actual details of what these actual sub numbers mean, but you can copy and paste these numbers, and you can basically look at it. If you have a pack of wipes at home, disinfectant wipes, anything like that that claims it's a disinfectant, you'll see an EPA number similar to this with like a 5-digit number in front of it. And you can actually go to the EPA's List N. Simply Google EPA List N, and you'll get to this page right here. And you can click on Search by EPA registration number, and you can type in that number that they put on here. So 87742 is the one that they listed here. Our sanitizers are associated with EPA registration number. Let's go ahead and search. Oops, other search options, I'll just choose that. And then when I hit enter for 87742, I get Thymol. Thymol is an interesting product. It's actually a botanical that you can use to disinfect surfaces, and it's a really good botanical for combating viruses on hard and soft surfaces that you can apply. It's extremely safe. It's actually based off the home herb that you use to cook with, thyme. So it's botanical. It's safe to use. Their labeling on most of their products doesn't require PPE to be used, although I would use it if you're applying it in like an aerosol of some sort, especially the person that's applying it. Anyways, that's listed as the EPA. However, I think the important part to note here is this is an EPA List N, which is specifically for disinfectants. So again, where they got it right is they're using the right products. The problem is they're thinking of it as a sanitizer rather than a disinfectant, and the numbers that they're using are referring to disinfectants while their website is misinformation about sanitization. And that's kind of where there's a divide there, or a distinctive difference into what you should be thinking about. So ListN is basically the go-to source to find out if you're using something. And here's another interesting tidbit. On the ListN, if you look at the chemical that you're using, you look up that number, and there's hundreds of these different products endorsed by the EPA. The contact time, otherwise known as a dwell time, this one is 4 minutes. And in other cases, it might be up to 10 minutes. And if you look at most of the wipe packages, you'll find that the dwell time on that is about 10 minutes. So when you use something to wipe something up really quick and then throw away the wipe, has it been 10 minutes? Most people wipe within a matter of seconds. So it may or may not be the best thing in your interest as far as that goes. So what did we learn today? Sanitization and disinfection. Sanitization is kind of the elimination of a good part of the germs, but not all of them. And disinfectant is a kill claim. Again, let's go to the CDC for the exact thing. It lowers the number of germs, is it sanitization, and disinfecting kills the germs. That's an important note to make. So that's the end of my soapbox here. I just wanted to make sure that we kind of got the right information out there. Oh, I didn't mention the Clorox here. They actually have a citation here as well. Again, I like that for both websites. Down here, they actually cite actual doctors' information, epidemiology. I like that. I like that they're actually using, EPA pesticide registrant. They list N as well, so that's a very popular resource for you to check out. But I definitely appreciate the fact that these guys are listing their sources as well. So when you read something, again, fact check it. Don't just take it for face value and post it on social media and misinform people. Look at it as another layer deep and make sure that it's coming from a valid source, and there's no political or hidden agenda or something that's skewed for their narrative where they're pulling out a little piece of it and taking it out of context. It's important that you educate yourself beyond just that first layer and understand what they're trying to do, trying to get you to purchase something, trying to get you to act in a certain way, as opposed to what you should do, which is the right thing. And when it comes to this day and age, cleaning and being inside homes, disinfecting, it's a life or death frontline situation. And it comes to that, do you want somebody mincing words between sanitization and disinfecting, or do you want people that are on point and arguing the definitions between the two of them? So contact LeBlanc Cleaning if you're interested in any kind of in-home disinfectant. We have services for that. We're also doing carpet cleaning and janitorial accounts. We're happy to help you out and dig a little bit deeper than just the surface level and making announcements that we're aware of COVID and we're doing our due diligence. We're doing more than that. We're on the front lines and we're out there to protect you. So please be careful out there.